We went out there, we talked to the people. And it was good. Proud Boys. We rolled out there with the Proud Boys, December 12th. Got out there. Got to have some fun. See the full interview in the description below. What do you think? What do you think?
First, I thought it was great that this individual spoke openly, at least it seemed openly, about their feelings and their true intentions about being out there in the street. Who knows?
Oh, that's PC. Stop with the PC. You don't have to be PC here. Go straight to the meat and potatoes. Come on. You hate his guts.
Mr. Franchise, with all respect, I'm a little slow. I'll get there. So, when we talk about the Proud Boys, let's first start off with who are the Proud Boys? Okay? Who is this person identifying being a part of? We'll look at the Southern Poverty Law Center and look at, don't roll your eyes out of your head. Let me get the definition out.
I don't say nothing.
Or let me
man.
see what
I don't say nothing, man.
Southern Poverty Law Center says.
I don't say nothing.
The group Proud Boys undeniably hosts members who do have racist, white supremacist, anti-Islam, and anti-Semitic views. The Southern Poverty Law Center, a nonprofit that tracks extremism, categorizes the Proud Boys as a hate group. Their disavowals of bigotry are validated by their actions. Rank and file Proud Boys and leaders regularly spout white nationalist memes and maintain affiliations with known extremists. The group often uses misogynistic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and anti-immigration rhetoric, according to the Anti-Defamation League. It goes on with a quote by this person, Chris McGuffey, I hope I'm saying that correctly, the deputy director of the Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey, said that the Proud Boys purports to be against white supremacy while overtly promoting the precise theories and narratives that white supremacists are known for. The group is known for its violence, as its original bylaws required those pledged to the Proud Boys to engage in violence on the group's behalf in order to become members. I'll pause there.
So that's what they said. So
well,
what is it you see?
Can we be clear with who they are?
Who are
so
they?
We're talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. We're talking about the Anti-Defamation League, and we're talking about the deputy director of the Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism at Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. So this is three different sources that are sharing their views on the Proud Boys based on their studies, based on their observations. Let me ask you something. Can gay people and can anyone from the LGBTQ community be a white supremacist?
I'm glad you said that. I don't know. I guess so, yeah. Sure, well, why not? I don't see why anybody couldn't be a white supremacist.
Right, so they had a gay dude. Okay.
But the guy who started it is like a black Cuban dude or something. They purport the gentleman who's supposed to be. I didn't want to put it as they say they're not a leader. There's a whole bunch of different chapters or things of that nature. I don't purport to be like a Proud Boy or a supporter of the Proud Boys. I am a supporter of freedom of speech. Okay. With that being said, I didn't hear anything that made me seem that they were white supremacist or anything like that. You know what I mean? No, I didn't see anything white percent. Said some things that could seem maybe stern, Western values. All right, okay, cool. Even say Judeo-Christian, they just said Western values, so it wasn't even like a religious thing. Usually you get Judeo-Christian values, but no, it was just Western values, and they want to protect people and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't see Proud Boys in the streets marching against racial injustice, right?
Well, the guy said they were down with Black Lives Matter before Antifa showed up. He said they were down with Black Lives Matter before Antifa showed up.
He said that, yet I've never seen documentation of the Proud Boys.
Well, who would document that? I mean, you think they would? Come on, man.
I've never seen the Proud Boys link arms with
but you weren't born yesterday.
In Black Lives Matter marching down the street.
Great picture. That'd be a great picture. Be a great picture.
This gentleman also went on to he made excuses for
Excuses.
the outcome in the 2020 election.
The
They tried making excuses as to why Donald Trump lost by, what is it? I'm not sure, 8 million votes? I'm not exactly sure at this
Why
point.
is it excuses? He's mad about it. He's mad about it. They can't he be mad about it? These are the reasons. It's like what team do you root for? Right, exactly. Because I know what team you root for football, and you're definitely full of excuses. You know what I mean? So with that being said, you got to make. We lost because it was the coach, it was the rain, bumble play, it was a bad call, the ref's fault. That's what we're on. This is what we're pretty much on. We're on like, yo, hey, it was a bad call to ref. It was a bad call to ref. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna complain about it all off season, but you know, whatever. Once he gets sworn in, boom. All right, fine. We'll go back to what it was, and we'll just get ready for 2024.
This gentleman, if this was Halloween, you would think he's dressed up like he's in the military, right? He's got the big old helmet on with a chin strap, goggles, right?
It was cold
right,
outside.
Locked and loaded.
Nah, he wasn't locked and loaded.
So my overall point is, peaceful protesters.
Well, they weren't there for peaceful protest. At this time, they're not there for peaceful protest. They're not protesters. They're there, as they say, for security for the peaceful protesters. Okay, they're there to protect the Trumpers, as they put it. That's what they're there for.
So they don't have faith in our local police departments or military to defend the president?
Well, every American has the right to do that.
Sure, but I'm just asking you, do we need mobs in the street doing police officers' work? I think a lot of police officers, you know, I have my criticisms, but I think a lot of police officers and our military, I think they would feel disrespected if, you know, any Joe Schmo off the street decides that they're going to be the ones that do the policing.
Well, what about the Guardian Angels? What do you feel about the Guardian Angels up in New York?
Based on my knowledge of them, I remember in the 80s, it seemed like in the 80s that their intentions were good, yet, and this is just off some of the stories that I've read and learned over time, their brand of community policing involved targeting certain people too. I don't think there's anything wrong with the community coming together to address issues or concerns in their community.
What do you feel about militias? So what about militias? What do you feel about militias? What's wrong? Is a militia too much, or is that not our God-given American right?
Let me just say,
Proud Boys, and they pretty much feel like they're under the police their own streets, militia, you know. Somebody's attacking these Trumpers. I'm not going to say Antifa or Black Lives Matter, but I will say I have seen it. They attack these old people with these hats on. They won't run down on me. They won't run down on a Proud Boy. But they definitely will run down on Mom and Pa. Walking down the street, you know, a little tipsy maybe, coming back from, you know, Barry's or Jerry's or something. They'll, you know, throw some rocks at him, push him, beat him up a little bit. You know, nothing major. I haven't seen anything. I won't say, you know, they're stomping people out. Not that that's okay either. Roughing up these old people. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck?
so we don't want to see violence against people, correct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We don't want to see people targeted for their race, their religion, their sexuality.
For anything.
We don't, exactly.
We don't want people to see people targeted, period. You know, we don't have to say race, creed. We don't want people targeted, period. Just in case I miss something in that, you know, that plus.
Right.
I'll just say I don't want people targeted, period.
So, when looking at FBI statistics, how do you feel about FBI statistics? Do you think that they could be a reliable source to look at?
I don't see why not.
Okay, well, let's look at FBI statistics, okay? Because when we talk about white people feeling like they're oppressed because they have to wear a mask, right? Like, as if there's nothing they can do with the mask on, right? But follow me here. You know, we got white people feeling like they're losing their rights, right? You got white people arming themselves as if they're under attack. Let's look. What year do you want to pick? Just give me a year. 2019, 2008, what year do you want to go with? 2016. In 2016, and this is on FBI.gov page. In 2016, law enforcement agencies reported that 4,229 single bias hate crime offenses were motivated by race, ethnicity, ancestry. Of these offenses, 79.3% were against people of color. 79.3% were against people of color.
That's a problem.
That is a problem. So it's interesting when white people feel like nothing against white people, right? At the same time, let's be clear. How you feel doesn't equal fact. Feelings are strong. You have your personal experiences.
Absolutely.
Right? But you need to get out of your bubble. You need to listen to people that are unlike you. We go across the board. We need to understand each other. So in this situation, okay, there might be white folks that feel like they're being discriminated against, right? And maybe they're victims of hate crime. Well, 2016, overwhelmingly, when it comes to race, white people make up 20.7% of those offenses. So if white people feel like they're being targeted, let's be real, white people, 79.3% are people of color. Like, that's the reason why people talk about Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter. Do you get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's look at religious bias. 54.2% of religious bias were anti-Jewish. So when you had those folks with tiki torches in Charlottesville, anybody can Google it. Anybody can look and listen to the chants. 54.2% of religious bias offenses were against Jewish folks. 24.8% against Muslim, Islamic. So right there, we're looking at people feel that being a Christian, they're targeted for being Christian. Well, sure, I'm sure there are people that are targeted for being Christian. But overwhelmingly, when we look at anti-Jewish and anti-Islamic cases, they make up 79% of the religious bias offenses. And on top of that, sexual orientation, 62.8% were classified as anti-gay.
Now, what does that have to do with the Proud Boys protecting Trumpers?
The reason why I'm saying is because people feel a certain way. You feel like your way of living is under attack. You feel like, well, I'm a man, like I can't say certain things, or I'm white, I can't use the N-word. I got my freedom of speech. It's not Xmas, it's Christmas, right? It's all of these things that happen all the time. These white folks, they're beautiful brothers and sisters of all shades. And we have feelings, but we also have to acknowledge facts.
Right.
As white people, those in Proud Boys, or Boogaloo Boys, or any of these possibly, most likely white supremacist groups, for those who are on the fence about joining or being a part of that, or those who stand silently on the sidelines, I think it's important to look at the facts and look who is really being targeted in America because of the color of their skin, because of their sexual orientation, because of their religion. And then you'll understand why the left exists and why the left moves on love and understands the intersection of these identities and understands the intersection of this hatred, thus producing our intersection of love.
So because these guys are flexing their God-given American right to patrol the streets as citizens, they are okay with gays and getting beat up, and Muslims getting beat up, and Jews getting beat up, and black people getting beat up because they're supporting Trumpers?
What I'm saying is Trump and his administration, through actions and through words, have emboldened people. It just so happens those people seem to be okay with racism. What I'm saying is Trump and his administration, through actions and through words, have emboldened people. It just so happens those people seem to be okay with racism. Seem to be okay with women and children being separated at the border. Seem to be okay with mass incarceration. Seem to be okay with...
Obama started that by putting them in cages.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
The only reason I'm talking about Trump because he's our current president.
Oh, okay.
And the way I looked at it, when Obama got into office, anytime Obama did something, there was a phrase I returned back to. If Bush did this, would I be upset? If Trump was not okay with that happening, he wouldn't allow it to happen. Instead, he's, still trying to build this wall that's not going to happen. But overall, getting back to the point, there's a reason why Proud Boys overwhelmingly support Trump.
Why?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, while some could argue that
Without white supremacy, give me a argument without using white supremacy. Give me something policy written without the crutch of white supremacy.
well, that's the thing is I don't think support for a candidate usually comes down to politics. I mean, sure, you have people that vote on
Of course,
you know,
the Biden people would say
how
that
a candidate's gonna
any policies.
go.
What policies did the man have? He didn't have any policies. I'm not Trump.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but a lot of times when people vote, they might be single issue voters. So maybe your issue is small businesses. Maybe it's abortion. Maybe it's foreign policy, the death penalty, environment, correct? We have a number of issues. So what's interesting is, I can't say this for sure now, but stereotypically, it seems that the Proud Boys stand down, overwhelmingly are in support of Donald Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Donald Trump, who has lacked compassion for people throughout his candidacy, who has used words that are completely disrespectful by calling those coming up across the border into America rapists, him disrespecting women throughout his life, admitting to sexual assault. You have Trump, who has called for the death penalty. He's called for the death penalty for 5 black teenagers in New York back in the 80s.
Private citizen. He can call for the death penalty. I've called for the death penalty of definitely George Zimmerman. You know, I wouldn't mind if he got hit by a bus.
Well, I feel differently, but that's,
tomato.
The overall point is, the Proud Boys don't have a platform of love. That's all there is to it. It's blind patriotism. It's violence. It's not in the interest of all people. So that's what it comes down to.
And that was our opinion of it. And if you want to know, have your own opinion of it, definitely don't take our word for it. Look for it right there. It's in the description. There's the link down there. And you can see this gentleman and what he talks about. It's a nice little long interview, about 15 minutes, not too long, about 15 minutes there. And you can see for yourself exactly what we want to do there.
If anybody watches that, they'll also notice plenty of misinformation that this gentleman and his friend put out there. Misinformation that blames the media for things. And I get that corporate media is a problem. At the same time, if you're going to put things out there, let's just be honest about it. Let's not spread more misinformation, right? So, he lit his candle, then he blew it out. So, it was good to hear him.
It's always rolling.
It was good to hear him talk, but the more he talked, you realize I just wasted my time.
I rocked with about 89% of the stuff that he rolled with. I say about 89%. He took a little bit of a detour near the end, but I rocked about 89% of that. And you'd be surprised how many people of my hue rock with what he was talking about. You know what I mean?
This guy said that the LGBTQ community, he said that the LGBTQ plus, allowed for pedophiles. To me, that's a complete disrespect, dismissal, and dehumanization of the LGBTQ community.
Some people, but again, the thing about the plus though, actually some people on the LGBTQ plus side have actually complained about the plus. They feel it dehumanizes the period. Good, bad, or with the other side or not, it's the plus. Well, everybody else gets their L, they get their G, their B, their T, their Q, and just plus. Come on, man, what about us? So, some people, even on the left, have complained about the plus period, that it dehumanizes, period. So you can't then turn around and then use that argument against them and say it dehumanized. Well, you kind of started it first. You plussed it. You made the plus. However, they did have the LGBTQ plus community, that community, one of those that community. It's just getting so long, I just can't say it. They don't want to miss a letter or something. But again, the fact that a lot of people do believe that NAMBLA, and now I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that it's ridiculous to think that this is unfathomable. Like I said, you'd be surprised, but people, I don't know about so much hate, but just theories. You know, a theory, a theory. You know, sometimes it's just a theory.
I mean, that theory is based on what, right? Maybe based on your solo experience. But in this situation, shouldn't we be listening to the LGBTQ plus community to better understand? For people not to be a part of that community, to make assumptions without listening to that community, it just seems unfair and a complete dismissal of a whole group of people. Can I just say that, Proud Boy or not, everyone has an opportunity to press that reset button. No one's backed into a corner, right? You know, as Americans, we have the ability to re-examine ourselves and rethink, okay, you know what, like, maybe I got caught up this hate or this dislike or this misinformation. If you have a chance to hit that reset button, if you have a chance to learn more and challenge yourself to look at that bubble that you're in and say, you know what, I'm in this social circle and this isn't healthy for me, hit that reset button. Reach out to people that maybe disagree with you. Have these tough conversations.
Both sides.
Be vulnerable. And this goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
This goes both ways. I mean, a lot of times, sometimes the only time that we talk with somebody that disagrees with us is during a holiday, right? A Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner, right? You're there, your uncle, your aunt, da 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 da. Before you know it, before dessert, tables are flipped, right? People are upset, whatever. So we need to have these tough conversations. So
That's what it's about,
to the fringes of the right, the left, we need to talk about these things. That's all it comes down to. But it needs to have a foundation of fact. And we need to agree on terms. We need to agree on what's the source for our facts. Are we fact checking everything? You know, and are we moving on love or hatred of people? And to me, I think as Americans, we need to move on love. Not just the love of country, but love of people in it. And love for humanity. We need to humanize it. So, you know, I definitely have my disagreements with Proud Boys, and I definitely completely disagree with their actions as a whole, and what I feel is their intention. And I do agree with the Southern Poverty Law Center and Anti-Defamation League. But as a whole, if you're a Proud Boy, listen, take a step back, let's talk about it, right? Let's
check it out. So like I said, you want to know what he said, check out in the description. You can check it out, look it out, check it out yourself. Don't take our word for it. Go look at it yourself. You heard it from the left, you heard it from the right. Let's see what we got, all right?